Hello students, now we'll see some of the programs related to structure and union. With that your fourth unit will be completed, right? So now let us start with the program. Write a program to store and print the address of a person using structures. So this is a very simple program where I am going to get the details about a person and I am going to print it. It is not necessary that they have not asked you about the array of structures and all. Just a name of a person, right? Only one single person I am going to take and I am going to read all the details. I am going to print it, right? It's a simple structure program, right? So here hash include stdio.h. I already told you struct is a keyword. Person is nothing but a tag name. These are all going to be my members. Name. Here I am going to print the address, right? So here I need door number, street name and city, right? So here and this is going to be my variable, structure variable, and here you take int main, right? So now printf, it is going to be the print address of a person using structure. I am going to print the address of a person using a structure, right? Now printf, so if you want here you can include the area. I have not included the area, but if you want you can also include your area, right? Now printf, enter the name of a person, right? So here I am using the scanf. Since it is going to be a character array, I have used just percentages. If you want, you can also use getters, right? Now, ampersand, I am reading this variable, structure variable dot member. So, structure variable dot member, and then printf, enter door number, street name and city. So, I am reading all the values, door number, street name and city, right? So I have collected everything using an ampersand. So it is like an ordinary variable except that you have a structure variable dot the member name, right? So printf, I am printing the address details. Here I have got all the information. Now I am going to print the details, right? So here if you want you can also include one more, character area of 30, right? So include this here in your program also, right? Now printf, door number, I am printing everything. Door number, street name, right? Everything I am printing it. It's a very simple program. It's your wish. How many things you want to add, how to print it, how to give variables. It is all dependent on you, right? Just I am reading the structure variable and I am printing it, right? So very simple program like how we have done details of a student, right? Right. We'll move on to our next program. Write a program to read, display, add and subtract two complex numbers, right? So I have to read, I have to do the addition, sum, I have to do the subtraction of two complex numbers, then I have to go for display, right? If you want, you can do all these things in a switch case, right? Read means option 1, display means option 2, add means 3, subtract means 4, and then you can go for exiting the program. Default means you can come out of the switch case, right? Right. So here I am going, since it is using structure, I have used a keyword called struct. And I have created a structure called complex. You already know a complex will have two parts, real and imaginary part. So I have real and imaginary, both can be a float, right? So here since I need to do two complex numbers and the result I need to store. So here I have three variables of type complex, because each one is going to have real and imaginary part. Here also this is also going to have real and imaginary part, and this is also going to have real and imaginary part, right? Now in the main program again I have to get the option from the user. So I have give int option since I am going to check the numbers, right? If you want you can also have character. For addition you can have a, for subtraction you can have yes, right? Then you have to declare char option, right? Now printf complex numbers. This is just an heading that will be printed in your output, right? Now printf enter the first complex number. I am getting the first complex number from the user. So I am reading it in which variable? Both the thing are going to be float. So I have used %f and then I am reading it in my first variable. So ampersand c1 dot real, ampersand c1 dot imaginary, because these are all the first values of your first complex numbers that I am going to store it under the structure variable c1, right? Similarly, I am getting my second complex number. Printf enter second complex number. In the same way, I am reading my second complex number, right? Now here because I have read my two complex numbers, now I have to read the option, right? See, for any operation compulsorily you need to read the complex numbers that we have done. So I have not included the read here. So enter the option. 1 means add, 2 means subtract, 3 means display. Is that clear? Right. Now in scanf I can use %d ampersand option. Here I can read the option from the user into the variable called option. It is an integer variable, so we have used %d. Now using the switch case, switch option, if it is going to be 1, I am going to do the addition operation and I am going to display, right? If you want, you can do the display here, or else you can do the display in option 3. Is that clear? Right. Since after addition I can display. Display means that is a separate that will display all the two complex numbers and the result, right? Right. Result dot real. So in the result I am going to store my real part. So c1 dot real plus c2 dot real. Similarly, result dot imaginary part I will store c1 dot imaginary plus c2 dot imaginary. And this is after adding two complex numbers. So I am printing sum of two complex numbers. So here printf the real part. How to print your real part? It is being stored under your result dot real. Similarly, the imaginary part is stored under result dot imaginary, right? Similarly, for subtraction, again I have to do the minus operation of c1 dot real minus c2 dot real, right? Similarly for your imaginary part, and then I am printing the real and imaginary, right? Right. In display, just I can display, right? So I am displaying the two real numbers, that's all. I am not displaying the result value. The result I will display when I do some addition or subtraction operation. Why I have done like this is because in the beginning itself, if the user wants to display, right, after reading the two complex numbers, if the person gives 3, right, just want to display, doesn't want to perform add or subtract, in that case what happens? If you print here result, then the result will not have any value, right? It will have 0, 0, right? So in display I am going to print only the two values C1 and C2. I am not going to include here result. But if you want, you can include your result. But if without doing addition and subtraction, if you try to give display, then the result will have 0 value. Is that clear? So to avoid that only, I have not included the result part here. It is your wish. You can add result also to be printed here. Is that clear? Right. So it's a very simple program. What I have done here, just I have created a structure. In the structure I am going to have two parts, real and imaginary part, and I have declared 3 variables here, C1, C2 and result. C1 and C2 are used for storing two complex numbers. The result I am going to store it in another complex number called result. And why I have used a structure here? Because the program they have asked you to use the structure, and moreover we know complex number consists of two parts, real and imaginary part, right? So here I am reading the first number, I am reading the second number, and then what I have done, I have read the option. whether I want to do the addition, subtraction or display. Addition means I am adding the real part separately, I am adding the imaginary part separately, I am displaying the result. Subtraction means again I am doing the subtraction and then I am displaying the result. Display means it will just display the result of display the complex numbers, right? Now the next program, write a program to add and subtract two distances given in terms of kilometer, meter and centimeter. See, already we have seen a similar program using distances of feet and inch, right? So when it is greater than or equal to 12, the inch will be converted, 12 will be decremented from inch and 1 will be added to your feet, right? And now we'll see a program related to kilometer, meter and centimeter. So before moving on to this program, let us know the conversions, right? So here we know 1000 meter equal to 1 kilometer, right? Similarly, 100 centimeter equal to 1 meter. Is that clear? So this is the conversion, we are going to use it here, right? So again I need to use structure here. So I am using a structure because every time when I read distance, I am going to read in terms of kilometer, meter and centimeter. See, whenever we say distance, this much kilometer, if you want to tell exactly the location of SVCE from your house, then you will tell in kilometers, right? Suppose if I have some for example 40 kilometers plus extra something and to your particular department, in that if you want to tell, then you will tell what? Kilometer plus meter plus this much centimeter, right? So I need all the three measurements here. So I have declared all these things to be the members of a structure called distance. And I have declared three structure variables here. What are all the three variables? D1, D2 and result, right? In the result, I am going to do the addition of or subtraction of these two things and I am going to store it in a result, right? So here also I am going to get an option. So whether I want to do addition or whether I want to do subtraction. Now again this is a printf statement just to print the heading of the program, that is distance program. Next, printf, enter the first distance. I am reading my first distance. So suppose if I enter my first distance as 1000 kilometer, 526 meter, comma, and then if I write 505 centimeter, right? So I have given like this. Similarly, I am reading my second distance, right? So here I am reading my second distance. Now here I am asking you the add, subtract, exit, right? I am reading the option here, right? Right. So here switch option, depending upon my action, either 1 or 2 will be selected. Either I want to do addition or whether I want to do the subtraction, right? So whenever you want to add, you will add the kilometers together and you will add the meters together and you will add the centimeters together. For example, if I say 5 hours and 5 hours 30 minutes and 3 hours 20 minutes. So what you will do? You will add 5 hours and 3 hours together and you will add the minutes together, right? So similarly here, if I give 1000 kilometer and if I say 1506 meter and then if I say 506 centimeter. Is that clear? So what is this? This is the distance I have given here, right? And we know 100,000 meter equal to 1 kilometer, right? So I have one more kilometers. So let me give that as 2000 kilometer. And here let it be 1000 right? So here this is going to be my D1 and this is going to be my D2. So I will add these two things, 1000 plus 2000 I will add and I will store it in result. Similarly 1506 meter plus 1105 I will add and I will store it. Similarly here 506 plus 103 I will add and I will store it in centimeter, right? So what is the answer you are getting here? So if I add, I will have 3000 and here I will have 2611, right? And here I will have what? 906. So this is what I have. Now I will check here result.cm. What is my result.cm? 609 is greater than or equal to 100. Right, it is greater than or equal to 100. So the condition is true, right? So I'll come here, int I. I is equal to result.cm modulus 100. So in the I am storing the modulus. So what is the modulus of the 609? The modulus here is going to be the remainder, right? So when I is nothing but a remainder, this will give you the remainder, right? So the remainder here is going to be what? 9, right? So this I will have 9 in I. And result.m is equal to result.m plus result.cm by 100. So what is the meaning of it? What is result.cm? 609 by 100. So when I divide here, what is the answer I am getting here? 100 into 6 is going to be 600. The remainder 9 I have got it here. So 6 will be added, right? 6 will be the result plus what is the result I have got it here? Result.m. So 2611 plus 6. So what is my new result.m? 2617. And what is my I value here? My I value is going to be 9. This 9 I am going to store it in centimeter. Is that clear? Right. Now, I need to check for my meter also because I need to convert my meter to kilometer also. So again I will check result.m is greater than or equal to 1000. Yes. What is my result.m? 2617 is my result meter is greater than or equal to 1000. Yes, it is greater than or equal to 1000. So what I have to do here? Here directly I have written. There I have got the remainder separately and then I have assigned here. So here I am going to add the quotient along with the kilometer and here the remainder I am assigning it directly to my meter. Is that clear? So here what is my result.m? 2617 divided by 1000. So when I divide 2617 divided by 1000, what is the answer? You will get 2, right? So this 2 I will add 2 with my kilometer. What is my kilometer? 3000 kilometers. So what is my new value here? It is going to be 3002. Is that clear? Now meter, the remaining is going to be the meter. So 617 is going to be the remainder. So 2617 modulus 1000, right? So what is the answer I will get here? 617. So here I will have 617. So what is going to be my answer? 3002 kilometers plus 617 meter plus 9 centimeter. Is that clear? So here I have 609. So I am subtracting what? 100. I am taking 100. So 600s I have converted to meter. So here I have 9 centimeter. And here 2611 plus 9. So 2611 plus 6. So that is going to be what? 2617. In the 2617 I am subtracting 2000. So it is going to be 617 meter. This 2 I am going to add it with my kilometer. So 3000 plus 2 is going to be 3002 kilometer. right? In the same way I have done, then I am printing the result. In the same way I am doing the subtraction. Why I am taking this here absolute is, see, the meaning of this is absolute. Why I need to take absolute is because here we are using modulus operation and division operation, right? Modulus operation will not work for your absolute values, will not work for your negative numbers, right? And moreover I am taking only the integer values, right? So the modulus will not operate on your float. So here I have taken the integer value, and to avoid the confusions when we are dealing with kilometer meter, here I have taken the absolute value, right? So here, because the first number can be what? The first number can be 1000. The second number can be either 500 kilometer, right? So when I do the subtraction, what happened here, you will not have any problem. Suppose here if I have 3500 kilometer, so d1.km minus d2.km means it will be in negative, right? So I am finding the absolute value and I am storing it in a kilometer, right? Then in the same way I am doing my conversions. If the result is greater than or equal to 100, if the result dot m is greater than or equal to 1000, right? In the same way I have to do my after subtraction, right? Not before subtraction. This I am going to do after subtraction. Default means again break. Even if you are not giving default also, it is going to break. But why I have given this default is, suppose if you give the option as 3, option 3 I don't have, right? So in that case I need a default to actually exit from my switch case and end of my program, right? So here is the same like your previous one. The conversions alone you need to be careful, right? Now the next program, write a program to get the coordinates x comma y for 3 points and check whether they form a right angle triangle. So here I am going to check whether the 3 points, whatever the points coordinates you give, whether they are going to form a right angle triangle, right? So here for first we'll see the example and then we'll move on to the program, right? So here I have the 3 points. For each of the 3 points I have taken the coordinates xy, xy, xy. Now map it and try to draw a triangle. Now I need to check whether this forms a right angle triangle. So what is the condition you have is, using a distance formula you need to calculate the distance. How we are going to calculate? x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, right? Similarly I need to calculate the distance of these two vertices and these two vertices, and then I need to find it out which one has got. Using the Pythagoras theorem, you know a square plus b square is equal to c square, right? If this condition satisfies, then you will say it is going to be the right angle triangle, right? So here I have taken, don't worry about this AB and all. For your understanding I have given. You can take randomly. These two things you can take, right? Apply the distance formula, calculate the distance. Similarly BC, calculate a distance. Similarly CA, calculate a distance. Now you check whether a square equal to b square equal to c square. You take a distance alone and you check whether it is equal to the longer side. Sum of squares of two distances is equal to the longest square of the longest distance. Here my longest is going to be 500. So when I add 320 plus 180, it is going to be 500. So both the things are equal. So you say that it is going to form a right angle triangle, right? Now that is what we are going to do in the program. Again we need to use a structure here. So for getting the points xy coordinate, I am going to use my structure. So here I have given the name for my structure as points, right? So I have given the name as ABC, right? Now I need to tell whether it is going to form a triangle or not, right angle triangle or not. So I am not going to do any calculations here. So I don't want result here, right? Now int main. Since I am going to find the square root, right? So it can be either, you can have a point value. So I am declaring it as a double d1, d2, d3. Why I have d1, d2, d3? Because I need to calculate the distances of three sides of a triangle, right? So now printf. The program is going to be what? Right angled triangle, and I need to enter 3 points xy format, right? Now printf, enter the first point. I am getting the input from the user for my first coordinate, first point, right? So that I am going to store it in a.x and a.y. For all the 3 points we need x coordinate and we need a y coordinate. Similarly, for the second point, I am reading b.x, b.y. Similarly, for the third one, again I am reading what? c.x and c.y, right? Similarly, I am calculating the square root, right? So, how to calculate the square root? I have already a built-in function square root. This is available in your math.h. So, sqrt. And I need to calculate power because I need to subtract x2 minus x1 the whole square. So again I am using the power here. So b dot x minus a dot x. So I am taking a and b first. So this is going to be my x2, this is going to be my x1. So I am subtracting these two things and I am calculating the square. So power comma 2. Again this is a function that is built-in function that is available in your math.h. Plus similarly I am subtracting the y coordinate power 2 because what is your distance formula? d1 is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. So here I have taken x2 because we are taking a and b. So I have used b as my x2, a as my x1, and I need to find out the square. So I am using the power function plus similarly for the y coordinates y2 minus y1 the whole square, right? The entire thing I have to use a square root function, right? Similarly I am calculating d2 and d3. Right, now here I need to check whether d1 is greater, d2 is greater or d3 is greater, right? There we have seen already that square root 500 is greater, but here how we know which side is going to be a greater, right? So for that we need to use what? Greatest of 3 values. So here the first value, second value and third value. So have one more variable called int max, and then find out which is going to be the greatest, right? So here I am comparing d1 greater than d2 and d1 is greater than d3, right? Then it means that your maximum is going to be d1, right? Right? If d1 is going to be a maximum, then I need to do what? I need to take what? Square d2 square plus d3 square, right? So in the square I can write it what? d2 into d2 plus d3 plus d3, right? So max into max. So I have to write what? C square is equal to a square plus b square. Is that clear? Right, that is what I have written. And this should be equal. If this is equal, then flag equal to 1. Why I am making flag equal to 1? Because it means that this is going to be a right angle triangle. Right? So I am making flag equal to 1. Else, if d1 is not greater, then I need to check for d2. So I am checking whether d2 is greater than d3 and d2 is greater than d1. Once again I am checking whether it is greater. If it is greater, again I need to use what? Max into max is equal to, this time I need to take what? d1 square and d3 square because d2 is greater. Is that clear? If this is equal, again flag equal to 1. Else, in that case what I have to do? Maximum is going to be d3. Again I need to check. See, you are calculating the distance, but still calculating the distance is not enough. You need to check whether it is satisfies a square plus b square equal to c square, right? So we have put ulta here. C square is equal to a square plus b square, right? So if all these three things done, if one thing is done, then the other things is not going to be matched, right? So automatically the else part will not be executed, right? If flag equal to 1, if the flag equals to 1, then you are going to print f, it is going to be a right angle triangle, else you are going to print not possible, right? If none of these condition matches, then your flag value will not be equal to 1, it is going to be 0. When it is equal to 0, it means what? The right angle triangle is not possible. Is that clear? So what we have done here, we have calculated this, right? D1 distance, D2 and D3. We need to find which is maximum, right? We know that we need to check a square plus b square equal to c square. So which two values we need to take to make it equal to c square, right? So for that you can find greatest of three numbers. So find greatest of three distances, and then you calculate whether it is equal to the square of other two distances. If that is the case, make flag equal to 1, right? If flag equal to 1, print f, it is a right angle triangle, else print it right, not a right angle triangle, right? Right. Next program we'll see, write a program to generate student mark list using structures. So here I am going to use a structure to generate the mark list. Okay, so mark list means what are all the things you will have? Name, roll number, marks, total, average, remarks, and then class, whether you are going to be a first class, second class, etc. Remarks means whether you are going to pass or fail, right? So here I have declared an array of structure. Do you remember? This is going to be an array of structures, right? Now, in the main program, I have declared a variables a, b, n, and I made flag equal to 1, right? So I'll tell you what for we are using this flag. And here I am reading the number of students. See, here I have declared 100. I may not use all the 100 variables, right? So depending upon your class, for example, in biotech I have got only 38 students. So how many students means I can just write it here the number as 38. Is that clear? So this will tell you that how many number of students I am going to enter, right? So here I am starting from a equal to 1. Here you can also start from 0. You can also start from 1. If you are starting from 1, then you need to write it as a less than or equal to n. Right? I am not using my 0th place. I am starting the array location from 1. Right? Now printf. Enter the details of a student. So which student I need? I need the first student details. So here the percentage d refers to a value. So here my a value equal to 1. So enter the details of first student. Here printf enter the name. I am reading the student name. Here it is going to be what? Array of structures. So in that structure I need to identify the array position. So here I have written what? Initially my array A is going to be 1. So in the first structure, I am going to access my first member name. Is that clear? So this to identify my first structure, because it is going to be array of structures. I am going to have 38 structures. In that I am going to identify my first structure, and then in that I am going to access my member called name. In that I am going to store or read my name. Whatever the user typing, I am going to read it in this particular variable, right? Similarly, I have enter roll number. So how I have to write it? Here I have missed it. It is nothing but ampersand of student A dot roll number. right? Now enter the subject marks. See, generally you will be having 5 subjects, right? Not more than 5 subjects. So let us take it as 5. If you want, you can also ask the user how many subjects, right? So to make the program to be short, I have made the subject marks to, subject number of subjects to be 5. Now I need to calculate the subject total. So here I have assigned the member subject student of A dot total equal to 0. So still I am reading only my first student details, right? So for the first student, I am going to read how many marks? I am going to read 5 subjects marks. So again here I have 1 first subject. For the first student, first subject marks. First student, second subject marks. Similarly, I will read all the 5 marks. Every time when I reading the marks, I am going to add it with what? With my total. So first time it is going to be 0. If my marks is going to be 98, I will have 0 plus 98. In the total, I will have 98. Is that clear? Next time when I read the next subject marks, for example, your next mark is going to be 97. So here I will have what? 98. 98 plus 97 is going to be what? 195, right? So like this it keeps on going, and I will add all my 5 subject marks in the total. Is that clear? Now I am in the same way adding. I am not going to the next mark. I am checking once again whether the mark is less than 40. Even if you fail in one subject, the remark is going to be fail, right? So if I am checking for each and every mark, for 5 subject marks also, I need to check whether the mark is less than 40. If the mark is less than 40, I am making my flag equal to 0. Because we have initialized my flag equal to 1. Now when it is less than 0, it means that I am not going to get my result as pass. I am going to get my result as fail. So my flag equal to 0. So I will do like this for 5 subjects. Is that clear? Even in one subject, if I fail, my flag will be equal to 0. If I pass in remaining subjects, then there will not be any problem, right? But still, if you fail in one subject, my flag will be equal to 0. Now I need to find out my average. Every time when you find total, you will find average. So what is my average? Average is going to be the total marks divided by the number of subjects. So here my number of subjects is going to be 5. The total I am going to have in students of A dot total. So still I am reading my first student marks. I have not gone to the second student details. Is that clear? So I am calculating the average of my first student, and I am storing it in a member called students A. A value is still 1 and average, right? If average is greater than or equal to 75 and flag equal to 1, only if you get greater than 75 and if you pass in all subjects, you will get your destination, right? Distinction, sorry. This is distinction. I have written destination, so correct it here. Distinction. Okay. So this I am copying it to what? CL, because class, whether first class, second class, third class or distinction. Right. Else, again I am checking whether average is greater than or equal to 60 and flag equal to 1. If it is greater than 60 but less than 75, I am going to get first class, right? Similarly, again I am checking whether average is greater than or equal to 50. Second class will be assigned to class, right? If it is greater than or equal to 40 and still the flag is equal to 1, then third class will be assigned to class, right? If flag equal to 1, once again I am checking, because for remarks I need to specify whether pass or fail, right? So we have assigned this is for class, whether a distinction, first class, second class or third class. This is to tell whether you have passed or failed, right? So again I am checking whether flag equal to 1. If flag equal to 1, pass, store pass in remarks using string copy, and else store fail in remarks, for string copy, right? Now I have completed for one student all the details, right? Because you have what? For each and every student I have got everything: name, roll number, marks, total, average, remarks and class. Total of all your subject marks. Average means what? Total divided by the number of subjects. Remark means what? Whether to tell you have pass or fail. And similarly, this class is what? Whether you are distinction, first class, second class, or whether you have got third class. Is that clear? So I have completed storing all the values here. Again I have to make flag equal to 1. Why I have to make flag equal to 1? Because again I have to go to my next student. Again, to check whether the student has passed in all the subjects, I need a flag variable. So I am making my flag equal to 1 here. Is that clear? So again I will go back here. I will continue all the things. Enter the details. Enter the name. Enter the roll number. Enter the marks. Is that clear? Right. Next, printing the mark sheets. How to print it? We already know how many students, and all the details are there in the structure. So that just you are going to print the members of the structure, right? So here the name of the student it what? So first time A equal to 1, I am printing the first student name, first student roll number, and I am printing all the 5 subjects marks. Since I am printing 5 subjects marks, I need to use a for loop for accessing the marks, right? Accessing the marks, right? And then what? Print the total marks, average, class and remark. Because everything we have stored, just we are going to print it, right? Right. Don't be scared after seeing the size of the program. Okay, you have lot of printf statement, that's all. The program is very simple. So what we are going to do? We are going to read the name, roll number, marks, and the total we are going to calculate, average we are going to calculate, we are going to calculate the class, and we are going to calculate the remarks, and we are going to store everything in a structure, and we are doing it for n number of students. After for displaying the message, again use a for loop. Everything we have stored in the structure, just using the printf statement, align your output and accordingly you print your result. Is that clear? See, these are all depending upon your wish. You can add 1 or 2 more tab spaces, new line, etc. It's your wish. If you don't want to do anything, just print the details alone, that also you can do it. Is that clear? Right. We'll move on to the next program. Write a program to generate employee payroll. Okay, still now we have seen student details, right, using structure. So here we are going to array of structures also we have used. Now here we are going to generate an employee payroll using structure and functions, right? So here also we need array of structures, because I may not have one employee, I am going to have n number of employees. So again I need what? Employee number, employee name, right? And then here I am going to have everything to be an int. What are all my members I have? Basic pay, allowances, deductions and my net pay, right? So basic pay means my fixed pay. With that I can add all my allowances, and then deduction means I am going to less the value from these 2 things, and that is going to be my net pay, right? So here again I have declared an array of structures. So this is going to be an array of structures, right? And then I am going to use a function. So in the function, I am not going to accept or I am not going to return any value, just I am going to display. So for displaying, I am going to accept the structure. Now here the structure is not going to be a simple structure. I need to pass an array of structures. So here I am writing struct emp, and here I am mentioning the structure variable is going to be of array type, and here I am specifying the number of elements in an array of structures, right? So this n represents what? How many structures I am going to have it in an array, right? So this is nothing but a declaration, right? We are not giving the definition for the function. Now int main. So here my main program starts. I am getting the enter the number of employees, like how we have done in the previous program. Enter the number of students. So in biotech I told you have 38 students. So here I will write number of employees. So for example, you take the number of employees can be 50. Is that clear? So for 50 employees I need to read all the details and I have to display, right? Now for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, because I have to read 50 employee details, so I need a for loop. See, if you want, you can also start from 1 and you can write I less than or equal to n, no problem. Since I've started from 0, it means that array location starts at 0, right? Now enter employee ID. I'm getting an employee ID. So here ampersand e of I dot emp number. So for the first employee, e of 0. For the first employee, I'm getting the employee number. Again, for the first employee, I'm getting the name, right? Similarly, I'm getting the basic pay, allowance and deductions, right? And then we are calculating the net pay. Net pay I can calculate directly, so I'm not getting it from the user. So net pay is what? Basic pay plus allowances minus my deductions. This I am doing it for each and every employee. Still I is equal to 0. So I am doing everything and I am storing it in a structure. And then my for loop will be there. I will be 1 for the second employee and I will carry out all the details. Is that clear? Now how I am going to display it? I am going to display it using the function. Because in the question they have asked you to use both structure and functions, right? So here, and I already told you, whenever you are passing the structure, it will be passed as a what? It will be passed as a call by value. So here I am passing the structure and this will be copied here. Right, so here I am calling the function display and here I am passing my e is going to be my variable, e is going to be my structure variable. So e is an array of structures, so I am representing it as an array, comma, the number of structures in an array. So I am writing it as n. So here we have read my n to be 50, so this 50 will be passed here. Is that clear? Now here I need to write with my type. While calling the function I need not write my type, but here in the function definition again I need to write my type. So struct emp. This array is of type what? Type structure. So it is nothing but what? Array of structures. And then here I am specifying the value as 50, that is of type integer. And this is not going to return any type, so we have void here. So it's nothing but just a printf statement. We have a structure here, we have a number of employees here. So using the for loop, I am going to print each and everything. So I am going to print employee number, name, basic pay, allowance, deduction and net pay, right? And then return. Because I am not going to return any value, but return will return the control to your main program. Here also I am going to have a return. Is that clear? Just I have used a function to display the structure. Is that clear? You might ask me one question, why you have not used a structure to read? For that you need a pointer, because already I told you, whenever you are modifying anything in your structure, that will not be reflected in your main program. For that you need to pass the pointer to a structure. Still we have not moved on to the pointer, so I have not touched that. I have just used the structure. Here the structure will be copied here, array of structures, and then I can do the display method. Is that clear? Right. Now this is going to be the last program in this section. Now what is a program is? Write a program to find area of a circle, square using union. right? So I need to use instead of structure, I'm going to use a union, that's all. But here I need to be careful when I'm accessing the elements. Already I told you what is the difference between structure and union. Both the things are going to be the same, but when you try to print the members simultaneously, you may have a problem, right? So here I'm going to use the same structure for storing my value and for my area, because once I get the value I'm not going to use it. We are going to concentrate only on the area. So area of a circle and area of a square. So once I get the value here, I am going to use the value for calculating the area. So I don't want this R no more, right? So I will read and then only I am going to store the value in area. So at a time I am going to use only one thing here. So I have used a union, and here I am going to create two variables, square and circle, right? So here printf, enter the value. Now I am reading the value. So scanf %f, since I have declared float, here you use %f, ampersand square dot r. So here I am reading the value for my square. Square means you know it is going to be what? Area of a square is going to be what? A square, right? So here square dot area is equal to r into r, because r is on side I am reading, so side into side, right? So now printf area of a square is, right? And then printf enter the radius. Now when you see here, once I have stored my area, my r value will not be there, right? Because we don't want this r value, we have printed the area value also, because in union at a time I can access only one member. So here I am accessing the member and I am storing these two members in area, right? And then I am printing my area also, right? Now printf enter the radius. Now I need to do it for my circle. So here I am using the circle variable and I am reading the radius. And what is the area of your circle? Pi r square. So for pi I am using 3.14 pi r square. So I am multiplying r 2 times, right? And then I am printing the area of a circle using what? Circle dot area. Is that clear? Right. Thank you, ma.